Thank you very much for coming, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to be able to introduce Michael van Gerwen. I know you've got a very busy schedule at the moment. You're playing in the Premier League finals on Thursday, I think. Then you've got the Players' Championship on Saturday.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, so it's very kind of you to give up your time for us. Michael is one of the most renowned darts players in history, having won 3 World Championships and 150 Professional Darts Corporation titles, I believe.
Correct.
And you were the number 1 from 2014 to 2021 continuously, I think.
Yep.
So just firstly...
You did your homework right.
Yes, thank you. So firstly, how's the shoulder? Because I know you've been struggling.
Yeah, the shoulder is good, to be fair. I can't really complain. I think something in the game happened. Maybe I was moving houses the other day. Not moving houses, moving stuff out my house, carrying boxes around and things like that. And maybe that has to do with it. But I saw some specialists and they said to me, everything is good. So I can't really damage it and I can play with it. So that's the most important thing for myself, especially when you know this is the second biggest tournament for us in the year. So we're going to play Thursday in the O2, 12,000 people there. So we're looking forward to it.
Super, glad to hear it. So I'm just going to start off, that's okay, going back a little bit. I'm just interested in how you got yourself into darts, because I think it's probably unclear to people compared to other sports what the sort of pathway is for getting into professional darts. Sort of, we imagine it to be a pub sport. What's the way that you get into it professionally?
Of course. For me, it was a little bit different, because when I was younger, I was about... At that age, when I was started to play tournaments, I was probably 13 years old. And when you're 13, you're not allowed to go in the pub. So I was playing football at that time, but I was so absolutely shocking bad at football. You know what I mean? It was terrible. So someone come up to me and said, on the Wednesday afternoons and the Saturdays, we're going to make like a little dart college in, I don't know how you call it, just in a townhouse, something like that was like 20 odd kids. And I said, yeah, I'd like to do that because I was already playing at home anyway. And at that time, I was there and I was playing with the kids from my age, and I was most of the time beating them. And there's nothing better for your confidence than you're the best out of the group. And from there on, of course, been a quick path, but also a long path. And of course, you need yourself to. You need a bit of luck because you need to have people that help you to go to tournaments because it costs money, and because at that age, you don't work, you go to school, and for the rest, it's takes a bit of time.
Is that route a normal route for players? Because I imagine
no, it's different totally now. Now it is. When I was younger, there wasn't darts colleges. Now you got the JDC, the PDC, got a development too, and darts has come from really far. And we was always 3 steps behind. And of course, darts are getting more professional all the time, but still, there's a lot of work to do. And because everyone saw it all the time as a pub sport, and probably maybe still is because you can do it in the pubs. And of course, I understand that. But the last time I played in a pub was probably 18 years ago. You know what I mean? Yeah. We only play big venues now, in big sport halls, things like that.
So that moves on as well as going to Tronty Nets, which was, you've been playing professionally now for 15 years?
Something like that.
How do you think the culture of darts, professional darts, has changed, if it has changed over that period? Because I always imagine sort of the old generation of darts players that I remember when I was much younger.
Of course.
Have sort of moved on.
Years back, the tournaments were sponsored by tobacco firms, beer sponsors. They are gone now. Now they got bookies. You know what I mean? That's the way how it is. But for us players, we need to make sure we try to do the right thing. And of course, with the PDC, the Professional Darts Corporation, Matchroom Sports, I don't know if you heard about that. They putting a lot of work to try to improve. Also with a DRA is like overseas. Let me find the right word. Company who looks after like doping control, things like that. You know what I mean? So it's getting more professional, but everything takes time, and everything has to do also with money. How much money is in the sport? Yeah. Because without money, you can't make a sport professional. That's the way how it is.
That's exactly what I was going to go on to next, actually, is we always imagine, I think, sort of darts as the top 10, 20 players in the world who play in the Premier League, and those are the ones we see most often. How big is the professional game, and how hard it is to make a living as a darts professional if you're trying to make your way up the rankings?
Depends. I think a lot of players these days can earn a living, but it depends how much money you want to spend, you know what I mean? If I want to drive a Ferrari and a Lamborghini and a big villa, there's only 2-3 people who can live off the sport. But if you just are sensible with your money and want to live a normal life, then I think 60, 70, 80 people can now live of it. And of course, that has to increase, and the PDC are putting more prize funds in and things like that. But that has everything to do with television, because everything what's on television brings in the money as well. And then from there on, you can put it back in the sport and try to develop it.
I suppose another culture change would be the introduction of female players playing more.
Yeah, of course.
Playing more.
Not only female. Even within the women's darts, don't get me wrong, there's now... she used to be a man and she plays as a woman now. Do you know what I mean? And she is a woman. Really, yeah, that's the way how darts is. But that's not only in darts, that happens in any sport. And darts is open and open sport for everyone, I think, whoever you are. And I think that's really important, because there's also a lot of people that want to play a sport they don't know, or it's really expensive, like the more poor people. Darts is quite a cheap sport to play, because a set of darts doesn't have to cost a lot. So in that, if you look that way, of course, darts still has a lot to improve, of course, but we're getting there. But you need to take step by step, and it's going to take a lot of years still, I think, but we're getting there.
With women especially, I know that there's a big grassroots game for women in pubs, like an awful lot of darts players if you go to your local pub of women, but they seem to sort of block on getting women from sort of the grassroots game up to the top of the professional game. Is there a reason for that, do you think? Do you think there's any changes that can happen to make that?
I don't know, because I cannot find a reason why a woman can be as good as a man in darts. If it's a physical sport, I can understand, because a man is built differently than a woman. But in darts, I don't know, and I can't give you the answer towards it. So we're going to see in the future. Of course, you still have occasionally a good player, but in my opinion, a woman should be can be as good as a man. That's what I think. I really believe that.
I suppose, so moving on to a slightly different area, darts is one of those sports, a bit like snooker, I suppose, where a lot of the time is spent on tour, away from family, away from friends, often in other parts of the world. How do you find the touring process? Do you find you socialise, and do you socialise a lot with the other players on tour?
No, I don't really socialise a lot. Of course, I have a couple of good friends. I got my own team around me. That helps a lot, but I'm probably away for darts 200 days a year. And that's a lot, especially when you have a young family. I got a wife and I got a daughter 5 years old and a son 3 years old. After they were born, of course, there was a big adjustment towards my professional life. But you need to find the right balance in between it. You know, of course, my career is really important, because I think it gives them a great future. But the other side, everything has to be right also for you to have a clear mind to produce the best darts you can.
So what's the culture of that tour like? Do lots of the other players socialise a lot and go out on nights out and stuff, or is it all very separate? And
there's a couple of players who socialise nearly every night. You can see it, but you have football players who do that as well. Yeah. And you have any athletes who do that as well. But I've did that, I've done it, I've been on the tour for a long time, and I just need to make sure I get a day older as well. So I just need to make sure I use my focus and my energy level for the tournaments, because days like Pro Tours, and if you look to the Premier League this Thursday in the O2, you need a lot of energy for that, because not only physical, but mentally, of course, is a big damage towards it. So you need to make sure you're prepared for that, and you're prepared for everything. Because on television you're gonna have criticism. Like now, last week I pulled out the Premier League because I had an arm injury. They're gonna question you about it. So, and I always say that's waste of my time, to be fair.
So do you find it hard going out? Because I imagine you get a lot of attention being such a public face. Do you find it sort of tiring when you go out into social areas and what's the photo of you?
If I go to social areas, I like it, especially with the people I like to have around me. But there's always people 180, that kind of stuff. Like I heard it for the first time. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Or they see you. Can you throw a 9 darter? Yeah, of course I can, but not now, do you know? Yeah, but that's the same when you go walk up to Tiger Woods. Hey, can you do a hole-in-one now? Do you know what I mean? That's not the way how it works. Yeah. When I go to a venue, I have a huge preparation towards my games, and you need to get ready for things, and that's the way how it works.
So do you find other ways to entertain yourself on tour? Do you do other hobbies outside of darts? Because I imagine it's quite boring
in the Corona times I brought my PlayStation quite often, but that's also a thing. When you're on the PlayStation, you're focusing on 100% there. Yeah. So you make it another half an hour on the PlayStation, doesn't mind, do you know what I mean? Things like that. Or I like to have a walk or watch some Netflix, relax. Just because there's no point to waste your energy when you need it enough on your match days. Yes.
So I imagine one thing I've actually been asked today when I told people I'm interviewing you is asked about how you practice. Because I imagine, a bit like snooker again, you're in a room sort of solo by yourself throwing darts at the board.
Or with someone. Of course, I play a lot of darts all the time, wherever it is. And if something doesn't go well for me at that time or in certain games, I analyze them for myself. And of course, that's the way how I'm going to practice, because I want to improve that bit. But that happens with football as well. If the defense was crap, they're going to make sure that they improve that bit.
Oh, so do you find it boring at all, just throwing
Sometimes,
darts? Yeah. Get bored of it.
I think it's boring. I don't like practicing. Yeah. I like to play on the big stage and perform in front of the big crowds. And I'm being honest now, and that's the way how it is. But that has also maybe to do because I've been playing darts for 25 years.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. Talking about playing on the big stage, do you prefer certain competitions, certain venues, certain players to play against? Maybe?
Yeah, of course. If you play against big characters in it, that's the nicest thing. That's the nice thing to do. To play in the O2 where 12,000 people are in Manchester in front of the big crowd. That's what I love. Or next week we go to New York. We play in Madison Square Garden. Yeah, of course I like things like that. That makes me happy. Yeah. But to practice in a room on my own, no, that's boring.
Super. So talking about playing on the big stage, we've got a video that we're going to play from earlier this year in the World Championships. You can probably guess what it's...
Yeah, no old videos of me, please.
What it's going to be. Simon, are we able to play the video? I imagine you've had this played to you quite a lot. Get volume in there as well, that'd be great.
Oh, thanks for reminding me.
Said if he wants to level up the World Championship final, Michael van Gerwen isn't in any mood to give him a sniff.
Yeah, the combination finishing in this game is going to be key. You can tell by the way they're scoring, there may be nothing in it. They may both be on nines. Michael may miss and Michael may hit. They're both on nines. They're both on a 9. This is insane. Come on now.
Wow, the World Championship final. Michael van Gerwen is on a 9 darter in the World final and just misses double 12. Over to you, Michael Smith.
One man misses, does the other man get? I've never seen the like.
Bastard.
Yes, double 12. This is the most amazing dance you will ever see in your life.
So my question about this is, obviously a World Championship final, you're quite in the zone, I imagine. Did
of
you
course.
think this would go as big as it did and be as viral and well known as it did in that moment? Or did you just feel like it was a sort of impressive leg of darts?
For me, I see it just as a leg.
Yeah.
Because in my opinion, people probably don't see it, but the leg afterwards, to break his throw, for me, that was an even more important moment because I missed 2 darts.
Yeah.
And that people hit 9 darts against me, it's nothing new.
Yeah.
But in a game like this, of course, that's what people will remind the rest of their life. Same as they keep telling me about my 17 perfect darts in the... Yeah.
Sorry for not showing that one.
But it doesn't matter. That's history. No one cares about history. Not me. I need to look to the
I'm
future.
a student, so I get
Yeah, I know, but you want to move on.
Yeah,
and when
that
you're
makes
all collecting negative energy in your brains,
yeah.
it's not going to really help, is it?
What moments do stand out then? In your
Only
career?
winning thing, when I won. When people ask me, who did you lose to 2 years ago in the World Championship?
No idea.
I ain't got a clue. Or sometimes my best mate asks me, can you remember last year you won the match play? Were you beat in the first round, second one? Ain't got a clue. Because I don't care.
Yeah.
That's done. It's done and dusted.
Is there
That's how I think.
any victory in particular that you sort of remember as being...
Probably the first Premier League of darts was against Phil Taylor. Me and Phil, we had some incredible battles over the years. And unfortunately, he retires. But when people get older, they retire. That's the way how it is. But that was a really important one for myself, of course, to beat the greatest ever in a final, in my first big final, because I think I had the chance as well to beat him in the World Championship final. But yeah, when you make mistakes and blow it for yourself, then you're going to get it, especially from a man like Phil Taylor.
Yeah, I just have 2 more quick questions and maybe we'll open it to the floor for questions. One thing I was asking about was, you've been critical in the past, recently I think, of the structure of the Premier League. I know you're playing in the finals on Friday. You said it, I think on Thursday, you said it's probably quite boring. Do you think that there's a way we can change up the format of darts played and change up how competitions work?
Sometimes it's boring because I also could remember the times when, in my eyes, was more enjoyable. It's now when things do not go my way or I don't produce enough for myself, it's a really easy thing to say something is boring, but that's also probably a weakness of yourself at that moment, you know what I mean? But I don't really like the format, and that's my opinion. Yeah. I prefer the old format, when you just played one game on a night, and it's easier to focus and give 100% in that game. Now, maybe it gets too much. I can remember back in the day when in 2 or 3 weeks' time, let's say I had to play Phil Taylor, people was really looking forward to that clash. Yeah. Now you play all the top players too many times, I think. Yeah. But that's my opinion.
That makes sense. So just finally for me, how would you see darts performing in terms of how popular it is around the world? Because obviously in this country it seems to be going quite strong. You know, they set out the Ali Pali of the World Championships. How is it around the world when you go on tour?
The European tour is getting bigger and bigger. Now we have a World Series event also in Poland. We play in Australia, New Zealand, Bahrain, Madison Square Garden, Scandinavia, Gibraltar, everywhere, and Japan, China, we've been there. So darts, of course, getting more global, but as I say, takes a lot of time. You need broadcasting partners in them countries to make sure the whole gang can go there and produce the darts they want to. And of course, it's good for darts if you go to new countries and everything. But what I said, it takes time, and we're getting there, and we're getting more globally, because years and years ago it was only Holland, England, a little bit Germany, and that was it. Yeah. But now we go to multiple countries, and I think that's good for darts.
Super. Everyone's already heard enough of me, so I'm going to see now if anyone has any questions for Michael from the floor. Any questions?
No one. No. I had to go
to the lady in second row first.
Now or recent? Now, of course, I think Gerwen Price. I think after me the second best player. So great battles is always what you want to play as a professional, and that's why I like to play on the highest level that's possible against the best players, because that makes you a better player yourself, and they get the most rewards from. Because if I play a game against someone who's not really good, it doesn't make me a happy man. Simple. Ask me whatever you want. I don't bite. Don't worry.
Yeah. When you either score a 180 or win a match, your celebration, do you practice that, or is that something that just comes?
No. There's a lot of other players, and like the Gerwen prize they all practice. No, but with mine that's natural. Do you know what I mean? That's me. That's the way how. Yeah, it's not that I'm gonna do it now. I'm not gonna do it. It's not like it's a button on and off button. That's just it comes or it doesn't come. Simple.
Super. Should we go to the gentleman in the blue shirt on the end there?
Yeah, hi Michael.
Hello, mate.
When you're preparing for a game, do you factor in your opponent at all? Do you then adapt your game plan for your preparation?
Yes, because there's a lot of players who are a bit quicker, a bit slower. Of course, I definitely adjust my preparation in my practice towards my opponent. That's really important, I think, because let's say I play Michael Smith, for instance. He's a really quick player, so there's no need for me to hold back in my practice routine. But let's say I play a really slow guy. My preparation in practice going to be slower as well, because otherwise you're gonna. It's a good question, to be fair, but I didn't expect that one. It's for me as a player, I always look to opponents what they do. Other players just do their own thing on the dartboard and keep throwing, but you need to make sure you read someone else's mind to know what you have to do to beat someone and to hurt them on the right moments.
Occasionally we see some players get sort of a bit angsty with one another on stage.
Excuse me, I didn't hear that.
Occasionally players seem to get sort of in sort of minor sort of disputes or get annoyed with each other sort of while playing on the stage. Why does that usually happen? Is there anything sort of...
Because you got a couple of cheaters. They talk to you, next to you. That happens in darts. Yeah, it's not the nicest thing to do, but you got a few players who try mind games. I don't call it mind, I just call it cheating. That's the way how it is. Or sometimes they just make something up. And then they say, oh, you're doing this or you're doing that. But that only happens when people most of the time losing, or they're not 100% focused enough, not concentrated enough, and they want to blame something else. One thing I always do, never blame something else. You have to blame yourself. That's the way how it is.
How much, sorry, I've got a question on that one. So
you have to wait one more time,
sorry,
mate.
I will come to you. How much of a balance do you think there is between sort of hard competing in darts, and you're talking about sort of whispering on stage and trying to get in people's minds? And do you think there's any room for that in darts at all, or do you just completely focus on your own game?
When you're really focused and really playing well and you're in your own zone, you don't hear it. But that's not happening every day. You know what I mean? It's not that you're a computer or a robot. You can say, I'm now not listening to anything, or I'm now too focused. That happens or that doesn't happen. That's why I say, that's why your preparation has to be right, so your mind has to be clear to be able to focus yourself really well, to make sure you don't hear things on stage, to make sure you don't make them mistakes. And that's really important, but that's all combining with each other, and they're all sometimes difficult to explain to people, but that goes on in my mind all the time.
And do you think the referee should step in more often than they do? Or if there is an incident, do you think that's a failure of refereeing?
If something gets really out of control, the referee will step in. And of course, the PDC, they also have cameras everywhere, and then you're going to get reported. If you do something what's not allowed, you're getting reported to the DRA, or sometimes you can read people's lips and then they swear or something, straight away get reported. That's the way how it is. There's been a lot of fines over the years, don't worry.
Go back to the floor.
This man.
Are you a bigger fan of the match play format or the set format that you play at
I think the match play format suits me better because in a set format, people need to win less legs to come back. And when I'm playing my own game and when I'm in form, people's too difficult to catch me when I have a good run. So then I like the match play a lot, yes.
You've won everything there is to win in darts. You've got quite a young family as well. Is your plan to continue playing for another 30 years like Phil and Powell?
No. I got nice friends around me. I got a lovely family, and I don't know. I say now 10 years, but Corona didn't really help, and I love what I do. You know, of course, sometimes I moan about I have to travel again. I'm on my own again, but the other side, you also do something you like, and you're giving your family and the people around me also something extra, and that's what you also like to do for me then.
Have you found it harder at all because you've now won pretty much everything there is to win, and sort of
I want to do it again.
Do you find it hard at all to keep going and keep motivating yourself to don't play another tournament?
When I play 10 games Monopoly against you, the 11th time I want to win again. That's the way how you are. You also have players, they're happy they reach the quarterfinal. No, I'm not happy when I reach the quarterfinal. I want to win. Simple. That's the way I am. And whatever I do, I always want to win. But you can try to be a winner, but really champions, they getting born. You know what I mean? That's the way how it is.
That makes sense.
Other than 170, what's your favourite checkout?
My favourite checkout, 132. What I did against Phil Taylor in the first Premier League final I played against him for the match. Lovely.
Do you enjoy winning more or just playing more?
Excuse me?
Do you enjoy winning more than the process of actually playing?
No, winning. Because that gives me joy. Playing as well, of course. And when I play a lovely, good game, like say I played a lovely game against Michael Smith in that final. But it's nice to play games like that. But when I then don't win, it's not really pleasant for myself. But you need to take them on your chin. Fall down, step up again, and battle harder. That's the way how it is.
So would you, I know I've been talking about snooker a lot, but I know Barney O'Sullivan in snooker always says he would never encourage his children to go into snooker.
I was with him a few weeks ago, just before his final.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How was he?
He thinks I'm a genius. I don't know how. That man can pot left, right hand, doesn't matter. He can do anything. He can pop balls with his eyes closed.
Do you play snooker yourself, or?
Yeah, but I'm not going to tell you my highest break, probably 24 or something.
Probably higher than mine. But so he always says that he would never encourage his children to go into snooker because it's, you know, you're hitting balls by yourself in dark rooms all day, and it's pretty miserable life, especially on tour. It's very, very hard work. Would you encourage children to go into dart? Do you think it's a sport people should
I'm not
go
going to
into?
say anything. They have to do whatever they love to do. That's the world we live in. I'm not going to tell them you cannot do this, or I'm not encouraging them to go that way. No, let them do whatever they want. If my son wants to go on ballet, he can go on ballet. If he wants to drive a quad, he can drive a quad. Wherever, I don't care.
Makes sense. Should we go? Someone at the back over there hasn't.
Yeah, Ben. Would you say there's a perfect darts technique, or do you think anything?
The perfect darts technique doesn't exist. Just look to Phil Taylor, the greatest ever, the way how he throws, and then look to how I throw. Or Michael Smith. No one throws the same. It's not like football. There's a certain technique to kick the ball in that goal. No. Or in basketball, there's a certain technique to make sure it goes in. In darts, everyone has a... That's why it's sometimes difficult that people tell you, do you have a coach? No. Because in darts, there's not... Of course, you can have a coach mentality for your mental aspect and things like that, but not for the way how he tells me how to throw. Because in darts, everyone throw different. I never saw someone who threw the same. With a black shirt there.
Hi. Do you find it difficult and irritating to play with a hostile crowd? Because since you've become the top player, a lot of times the crowd will root against you.
Yeah, because they love underdogs, mate. It's the way how it is. They love to root for underdogs. Don't forget, I'm a Dutch citizen, so I've been working in this country for 25 years, and I got a work permit here, and address and all that, and I pay tax in this country. But yeah, they won't see that way. Do you know what I mean? And that's the way how darts is. But you create a shield around you, so I can handle that. I'm not really too bothered about whatever the crowd does. And then again, when you focus, when you're in your zone and playing well, and you do the right thing for yourself, you don't really hear that. If I play in a small exhibition, let's say in front of a corporate, and someone is rooting something nasty or something, that happens sometimes as well, then you hear it. But when thousands and thousands of people saying something or singing something, sometimes I don't even understand what they're singing anyway.
Do the players get consulted much on tour expansion and format changes, or do you just have to accept?
Accept it. I don't have any influences. Of course, they will listen to me, but I don't have any influence on whatever they do. That's the organization, and that's the way how it is. But I don't really want to waste my time on that. I just need to make sure whenever I have to be somewhere, and wherever the format is, I need to make sure I'm ready for it.
Yeah. You mentioned when you first started playing darts as a teenager, what sort of training strategies did you go for? And are there any you recommend for someone just getting into darts?
At that moment, I didn't really had a practice strategy. You just was playing with kids of your own age, and you just playing a game of 501, or we call it 1-2-1, just to finish it down. And then you see, hey, I'm keep beating them. I might be good at this game, do you know what I mean? And then as a kid, when you win trophies, I never won a trophy with football in my life, because I was crap. But when you win a trophy as a kid with darts, then you're proud of yourself. You go to your grandma and show your trophy. And that gives you confidence, and that gives you also the will to go further and to do more for it and to work harder for it. And yeah, that's good.
So if a young person came up to you and asked for advice on their throw or how they were playing, you would say, I just throw however feels best to you.
Yeah, true. I wouldn't tell them how to throw, because it can feel really unnatural. There's no one told Phil Taylor. If you ever see, I don't know if you guys ever saw Phil Taylor play. Yeah? If you hold your dart like this, that's not natural. But it worked out for him. He won quite a few tournaments with that. You know what I mean? So it worked. So everyone is different. And you have to accept that. And you shouldn't interfere with people, because it only can work against them anyway.
Has that changed at all? Is darts becoming more professional, more coached, or is it still very much natural?
But they're also to do with how more money gets into sport. You have your own doctor, physio, all them people around you to try to create a good team around you, try to progress you as a dart player, to make sure you don't have to worry about the hotel room to check in, or to do your entries, or to book your flights, or you have to get picked up from airports and all that nonsense. That's just the only thing I need to worry myself about. Go to that stage, be prepared, and play my darts. And that's what you want to have.
Do you remember your first 180?
Oh no, I can't really remember, but I was young. I was probably 9 years old, I think. I can't remember, could be before, could be after, but something like that. Because my first trophy I won when I was 10.
I mean, 9 years old, I was doing well after I hit the board, let alone at 180. So
yeah, true.
I've got carpets all around my bedroom wall, so when I hit it, they put holes in the wall. So do you remember your first 9-darter?
No, my first televised one was, I was 17 years old. 17. I was on television in the Masters of Darts against Raymond van Barneveld. Yeah, I hit it a few. So,
You can't remember.
but not enough. Never say it's enough.
Yeah.
Same as you never get sick of winning tournaments. You won already 150. Yeah, but I want to win 250. Do you know what I mean? Just keep going. Yeah. That's the way. If you're happy with what you already produced, then you're never going to be a better player.
Yeah.
You always need to aim right. It's also a bit of, people say, it's easy to say. No, but it's, you want to create it for yourself. You want to create yourself a little bit like a robot and never enough. Because that's when, then you want to learn more. Then you want to invest time more in yourself. And what I said earlier, of course I sometimes want to go on holiday and not thinking about that, but that's in August. Then I have my holiday, but up till the end of July, I'm busy with what I love the most, and that's play darts on the highest level that's possible.
Is it still important to you to hit 9 darters, or if you hit so many now, you just think
9
there's something
darters.
else you do now?
I don't care about 9 darters. That's just like Ronnie's not really happy when he hits a 147. Then he asks if there is a prize money on this. No, then he goes for the other shot. But that's for me exactly the same. It's only one leg. It's not about winning one leg. You have to win the games.
Yeah. Let's go to Blue on the front. Yeah.
He was keep putting his finger on. Come on, tell me.
So during the World Championship, when sort of TV ad breaks come on, like in the middle of a set, we see the players like go into some of the back room. So what do you do during those sort of ad breaks in the middle of the game?
Toilet, drink something, vape quickly, and then go back on the stage. I'm telling the truth.
What did you think of Gerwen coming out on stage with a pair of like defenders?
I was behind. I gotta tell you that I was at the World Championship. I was behind stage, and he had them on the table behind him where he was practicing, and I kept telling him, you don't have 2 balls to put them on. And he put them on. I was like, what are you doing? Because it's only going to work against you. But he created that little problem for himself, so he has to also solve it himself. And the only way how he can solve it, by playing some good darts. That's the way how it is.
Do you think darts should be in the Olympics?
It can do, but I see now other sports. I think it's shooting. I don't think it will. I think the PDC don't want to go that far. But we see. I don't know, and I don't. It's nice to play for your country. Don't get me wrong, but the other side, the World Championship is still the most important thing for us. And I also need to look to the finances, to be fair.
Just going back to the price thing with the air defenders, do you think that's a way of trying to sort of egg yourself on and trying to sort of cheat yourself up before you play if you're feeling a bit demotivated?
I see it as weakness.
Right.
I see it as weakness. Why would you need to put them on?
Yeah.
That means you're busy in your head with things you shouldn't be busy about. Pointless to worry yourself about people that booing you. Then you better think about something that can solve that problem, and not putting them air defenders on. That's my opinion, but who am I?
I suppose it reminds me again, going back to snooker, the World Championships, the same for Vai when he, on the break, just smashed into the pack on the break. Just as a way to try and apparently off-put Ronnie. I don't think Ronnie really took any notice of it and just clears up.
No, exactly. You need, because he's in that zone. He's in his own zone to make sure he plays a good game. Yeah. And that's the way how it is.
Yeah.
Also, historically, probably when drinking on stage is quite a big thing at darts. When going back like 30, 40 years. Yeah. Kind of backstage or before a game now, do many players still have a bit?
Nah, of course you have the old generation sometimes still have a little beer or something, but alcohol goes out of sport gradually, in my opinion. And years ago, everyone did it, but now maybe 20%, I think, 30%. But on the other hand, I also have to defend it here. What's worse? A guy who played darts for 40 years drinking a pint, or in other sports having APO and all that kind of nonsense. Do you know what I mean? And to be fair, alcohol is not on the doping list, so people keep saying something about it, but yeah, who are they to judge about it?
So why do you think that's drawn out the game, the drinking? Do you think that's just people have a different mentality and are more professional, or do you?
Yes, because alcohol doesn't make you more sharp, is it? It's just try to put your nerves to the side a little bit. Because I've never seen someone who is really drunk being really sensible with his head, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the way how it is. And
sorry, carry on.
No.
Yep, in the blue jacket.
I'd argue that the greatest moment in sporting history ever was when you hit 17 perfect darts against James Wade.
Yep.
Do you think anyone will ever hit consecutive 9 darters?
I don't know. If someone is going to do it, it's probably me. But I did 2 9-darters in one game before. Was it a pro? The pro tour was not televised. But if you're going to look back, them 17 matched perfect darts, huh? Did you ever seen it? The 17 perfect darts. Did you seen it?
Oh, I've seen it a million times.
But the leg before, how did I end?
The leg before James Wade won the leg.
No, me. And I had 6 perfect darts to finish it, so literally I had 23 perfect darts. Have a look. No one knows, but that's the way, because I don't really care about things like that. It's just winning a leg. And when you miss, you miss. That's the way it is. Then you need to make sure you get sharp again and win the next leg again. Simple. People keep saying, this is good. No, it's not good, because you lost a leg. Crap. Move on and win another leg.
Have you ever been nervous before a game?
Yes.
You mentioned that you want to see extreme focus during the game. How did you kind of learn to keep that focus for very long periods of time?
Sometimes it's not that I'm nervous, that I'm shaking or something, but sometimes the heartbeat goes up and you think, Michael, just stay calm. But the only right answer towards that is try to hit as good scores as possible, keep yourself as cool as possible. And when you win legs under pressure, because I'm not the only one who has pressure, everyone has it. That's the way how it is. And how more times you do it and dealt with that situation, how better the things like that going. Of course, I'm not a robot, I know that, but I'm close to.
So who do you see coming up in darts now who will emulate someone like yourself or Phil Taylor? Do you see a player who is destined to be sort of like yourself as one of the greats of the day? No? No.
Not to win, because times changed. Because same as I say, I'm not going to be as dominant as the year 2018, I think it was, when I won 25 tournaments. That's not going to happen anymore, I think, because the top field is too wide. There's too many players who can hit good averages, so you're not going to win all them tournaments. Like last year, I won quite a few big major tournaments. I also said that's not going to happen every year, but you need to do the right things at the right moments, for your ranking, to make sure you don't fall out of the top. And that's the only thing you have to do.
So what do you think darts needs to do to keep itself to stay interesting and stay popular and even grow in this country? Do you think there's something that's sort of, I'm asking, there's a block on it that has to change, or?
But no, I think they need a bit of time, because there's a lot of players who used to play well in the past, like big names, but happens in any sport. That's like tennis. Roger Federer. Not really play. I think, did he quit or not? Yeah.
I'm not tennis.
Yeah, no. But people retire, and then new people have to stand up, and that's the way how the sport goes. And younger people will grow up with them new stars. That's the way how every sport goes. And of course, but how interesting things are for television, that's not up to me. That's up to Sky Sports. The only thing I have to do, make sure people find it interesting to watch me. And how can I do that? Play as good as possible, so people cheer for me.
Yeah. Do you like watching darts?
No. Really, no chance. Ugh. Can't think about anything worse, mate. Because do you know what I always said to myself? You never watch darts? No, because in the meantime I could go and practice and make sure I was getting a better player myself. And other people love play. I know other guys But that's more the commentary side. Like Vincent, my friend, Mark Webster, they know everything about us. They know who I played 10 years ago in certain tournaments. I think, how do you know that? I think, you're crazy. You know what I mean? But I'm not like that kind of person.
Are stats important to you at all? Do you look at your average stats?
No.
Do you look at your average over a match at all? Or?
No. Yeah, over a match, yes, because then I know a bit how I played, but a lot of people have to tell me, if you win this tournament, you're going to break this record. If you play this, you're going to do this. I don't care. People have to tell me. It's not that I'm going to find my own stats and deal with it. Nah, that's not up to me to worry myself about things like that. That's something for other people.
Is that unusual, do you think? Do you think lots of players do care
Yeah,
about stats?
everyone does. Everyone else does. But I'm just not really interested. That's why I say it doesn't matter. With stats, you don't win games. You have to show them and let them see how big your stats can be in the next game. And that's the way I always think.
Your walkout song is obviously very famous in the chant that comes with it.
Yeah.
How did you come across that?
It's not me, it's Sky Sports, mate. Sky Sports, yeah. Of course, with the football game, when Robin was playing for Arsenal and after that for United, they used to have that song. They were singing that song for him, so Sky Sports thought might not be a bad one for Michael. So they got it from me, to be fair. And yeah, didn't went too bad, is it?
Is that the same for all players? Is it just given to them by...
No, so you can come with their own song, because you don't... I don't know if... Are some people of you familiar with darts here? You know a lot of players, like Dirk van Duivenbode. He comes up with a hardcore number. Sky Sport didn't really pick that for him, do you know what I mean?
Anything else on the floor?
Yeah. Do you have a favourite walk-on from another player?
I like Raymond van Barneveld's walk-on song. I like the song. Every time I hear it now on the radio, I have to put it off. Because I don't think about the song, I think about him. That's not really pleasant, is it?
Do you feel any special rivalry with Dutch darts players? Do you have more?
No, I don't have rivalry with them. They have rivalry with me.
And do you talk to them more? Is there a community?
Of course. No. We don't have a community. Yeah. Okay. WhatsApp. That's our community. How are you doing? That's it. Congratulations with your birthday. That's it. For the rest, I'm not really speaking to them.
Do you find it hard to look after yourself on tour, especially eating, that kind of thing?
You can see.
That wasn't a targeted question.
No, don't worry, mate. No worry. Don't worry, mate. I can have it. That's definitely hard. That's the next thing.
Yeah.
I don't have like cycling and all them sports. They have teams around and they have their own chefs with them and all that.
Yeah.
That's the next step in darts.
Yeah. How about being away from family? Is that a particularly difficult thing, or how do you balance that?
Sorry?
How about being away from family and children? Is that hard when you're on tour?
Of course that's hard. That's the way how it is. But I don't really mind. I'm growing up with it. Now, let's say next week I go with... My wife joins me to New York. And then she says, I will miss the kids. I don't have that. I grow up with it. It's normal for me. If I have to think about that constantly, you're only going to ruin my darts and the way how I think. You need to be quite easy person, because I travel a lot. I used to travel. I was 17 years old. I flew on my own to Canada to play one small little tournament and then come back straight after the day after. I was in Canada 36 hours and then flew back.
Yeah. Does your children play darts, or do they not get involved at all?
They both have a quad in the garden.
That's it.
And that's the only thing they do.
Don't like darts at all, or?
Yeah, they watch it a bit, but not good enough. But they are 5 and 3, mate. And I'm not going to give my son of 3 years old. I'm not going to give him a sharp dart. Him and his sister behind each other.
You were dating 180s at 9 years old, though. So.
Yeah, true. But I didn't start when I was 9.
Yeah. How old were you?
We always had a dartboard at home because I have an older brother. But so sometimes I chuck a few darts. But it wasn't that I was throwing for hours and hours a day. I think that probably started when I was probably 10 years old.
Right. Yeah.
not my arm. But if I can't play darts anymore at a high level, yeah, Lloyd's do quite good insurances. Any plans? Anyone else want to ask me something? Wherever it is.
What do you think to Peter Wright's hairdo?
Yeah, now I'm more used to it, but at the beginning I think, what is he doing? You know what I mean? Yeah, but that's his, but it's his character, it's his thing, and yeah.
It's not real hair, is it? It's a sticker, isn't it?
No.
Is it real hair?
It's hair, yeah.
Gosh.
You didn't know.
I should look like a sticker.
A sticker. That's the first thing I heard there.
It's not. Gosh. And you have a...
Yeah, when you do this sort of walkout at these competitions, is it quite distracting having to walk sort of right by all the fans, like, giving high fives and stuff, sort of as you're accompanied to the stage? Or is it quite easy just to focus on the game you're about to play?
Yeah, sometimes it's annoying. When I do the walk-on sometimes, then you see other people want to high five. But last 2 times, I also people they hold your arm. So when you then walk and then hold your arm, yeah, you know what I mean? You think, what's going to happen here? But that's what happened with people with alcohol. But at least they're enjoying themselves, do you know what I mean? But they cannot do everything that they want to do, do you know what I mean? But that's the way how alcohol works. They're not thinking really clearly.
Yeah, that's another one at the back. Before a big game, are you trying to really calm yourself down, or are you trying to pump yourself up?
Pump myself up. 100%. Yeah, but it's not that I always do the same, and not that of course I try to, but it also depends what kind of mood you're in, and sometimes I'm a bit like, I don't want to practice, I will beat them anyway, and then you make it yourself so unnecessarily difficult in the game that you think, maybe I should have prepared myself a little bit different. But then sometimes when things are getting a little bit too easy, or you're winning your games, you can get a little bit not concentrated enough, and that's not a good sign. Then someone needs to kick you under your bum and say, hey, what are you doing?
Anything else? Is the Ali Pali your favourite place to play?
No, I don't really have... People ask me this question a lot before, but I don't really have a favourite venue. Every venue has something special anyway. Whether I play in the O2, Alexander Palace, in Ahoy, or Madison Square Garden, or the Etihad Stadium in Melbourne. That's the way how it is. And I don't really look to venue, because a venue for me is a dressing room where I get prepared, I walk to the stage and get on. It's more the people who I like to play and perform in front of. That's what I like.
You say Sky picked your walkout song.
Yeah.
You could pick your own one. Do you have one in mind?
Not really. I'm not really into music. If I listen a bit of radio, a bit of 80s, relaxing, that's fine for me.
Yep, another one at the back.
How long are you in Cambridge for, and would you like a trip to Perth?
You're playing on Thursday, aren't you?
Yeah, I've got a press day tomorrow in the O2 to make sure, they are happy as well. The newspapers can write their stories, and then Thursday only my goals, winning that title. That's the only thing what's on my mind. But I might have some dinner later here. I don't know. Any suggestions? Yeah. Anyone else wants to ask me something?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, a new face.
Do you make maths mistakes and try and figure out what's wrong?
Yes, that doesn't happen too often for me, making maths mistakes, especially not with darts. But most of the time, it's not really like a mistake that I miscount myself, but then I have something in my head I want to do, and then if I throw down a different dart at the wrong number, then I get a little bit disorientated because my focus was so on a certain number. So, of course, it happens sometimes, but most of the time, it's not up to me. There's other players who make a lot of math mistakes in darts, like Johnny Clayton, for instance. But, that's the way how it is. Yeah, everyone is different.
Is it instinctive for you, the counting? Do you actually count it up as you're throwing it, or do you just know in your head sort of what
I did it. I did it so many times, so it's normal. It's normal for me. I don't know better. I did every finish 200,000 times. Yeah. That's the way how it is.
Who's the funniest player on the tour?
There's a lot of people that think they're funny. Yeah? Probably Joe Cullen, he's right to be fair, but everyone has his own charm.
It's nothing else. I think that's
no problem. You want to ask me something?
Pardon?
You want to ask me something?
Do I?
No. That's a question.
I've asked you plenty. I think.
Yeah, true.
Thank you so much for coming. It's been really, really, really good fun. I know you're incredibly busy, so it's fantastic for you to come. If we just give Michael a big round of applause for coming.
Thank you.